What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I am coming at you from the ASAP General Store in Enid, Oklahoma, right across the street from the Loves. We'll get into that in a second. But right off of Highway 412, and in about another week and a half, 2 weeks, I'll be coming at you with more Afro than Rollo. And some of you guys don't know who Rollo is, but for you old school people that used to watch Sanford and Son, you know exactly who I'm talking about. So, I had somebody in the comments asking about trip planning, things like that. I got into this conversation when I was at the terminal recently, and also had a conversation about this with my fleet manager when he was complimenting Myra on the way she runs her truck. So Myra, if you happen to be watching this, dispatcher is definitely happy with the way you run things. So, talking about this truck stop, it's ASAP General Store. It's actually a Conoco if you were to look at it. Love's right across the street. But, people are often ask me, where do you find these small truck stops at, things like that. A lot of times I'll go out of my way to look for them. Like, I'll look for something around near where I plan on stopping, something like that. But sometimes you just kind of happen on them. I planned on stopping at this Love's across the way, and I looked over here and I was like, that looks like a good place. Then you go inside and it's, I think across the street. I don't remember. They might have a Wendy's over there, something like that. This over here has a Subway and a Lucille's Kitchen. More diverse store as far as product, things like that. So, and I might even use this as I can't use it. I don't know. I might use this as the thumbnail. Parking spot so big you could do a U-turn in it. And on top of that, Love's across the street was probably about half full, about noon. Over here, there might be 3 trucks, and 2 of them are empty. There's a cattle hauler, and then I don't know, I can't even see the other one that's down there, but completely empty basically. So another win for the small off-brand truck stops. But all right, so about this trip planning, and I don't remember if I had this conversation with somebody or I was talking to somebody. I think I might have been talking to somebody, and he said that somebody had asked him about trip planning, and he had this thing in his head, which I mentioned earlier: run your truck how you want to run your truck. But this whole driving 8 hours a day and things like that, and me and this guy were basically just saying, no matter how good you trip plan, running your ass off is going to be better than any trip plan you got. You are never going to be late if you're running all out. And I don't mean speed wise. I mean, run your speed how you need to run it. I'm in a Peterbilt. Peterbilts are generally going to do better 60 to 63. If I'm in a bunch of traffic with a bunch of trucks, I'll go up to 65 because peer pressure and all that. And I don't want to have a bunch of people just, going around. But, 60, 62, somewhere in there. 58, whatever, if you're in a Freightliner. Maybe less. I don't know. But when you're out here trying to micromanage your trip plan, I think it can cause you some problems. So my philosophy as far as trip planning, I've never sat here and said, I'm going to stop here, I'm going to stop here, and, this is going to be my plan, because sometimes you're running ahead, sometimes you're running behind. And if I plan on stopping somewhere and I'm ahead and I can see a truck stop further down the road, I'm going to hit that one. And I'd mentioned it before, but, you're going to burn through your hours more, but there's always going to be that day when your clock catches up. And I was talking to my fleet manager about this when we were talking about Myra. And he said, we were kind of talking about different philosophies, and he said, I'm with you. He said, trying to trip plan over some stuff that might happen just doesn't make sense. He said, if you knew exactly what your entire next week was going to be, that's one thing. He said, and this is something else I've quoted from him as well. You worry about running, I'll worry about matching loads to your clock. Period. You know, you get out there kind of running a little bit short, things like that. You know, and one of the problems that, you know, this conversation about this other guy driving 8 hours a day is sometimes that leaves a little bit too much meat on the bone on that last drive shift. You know, by that last drive shift, I want there to be as little driving as possible. So I start off that next load with as much time, giving my fleet manager the most options possible to plan me on. So that's my philosophy. I'm sure there's a ton of different philosophies that work for people. I'm just telling you how I do it. And, you know, I'm going to kind of be honest with you. You know, to me, when somebody says, you know, I drive 8.5 hours, and if you happen to be watching this, I'm kind of joking, but I'm a little bit serious about it. It's kind of a way to say, I'm looking for an excuse to drive less. And this seems to fit. Like, I can get away with this excuse. You know? And that's just doesn't make sense to me. Another thing that I won't do is, until I get where I'm going, I am not going to take much more than a 10-hour break. I mean, maybe 11 if I got a bunch of time on a load, but you just never know what's going to happen down the road. And what I would say, if I was a fleet manager, somebody involved in this, is if somebody ended up late and they're going to blame it on traffic, weather, whatever, and I saw these like gaps of time in the load, I would question that a little bit. And I understand there's give and play when it comes to like being out here trying to sightsee and actually doing your job. But I'm just more about trying to get the job done, and that's less stress. The less stress for me makes up for any sightseeing and all that kind of stuff that I could ever do out there. And, you know, it's kind of my similar philosophy in training. I got that from my trainer, and because I may have gone the opposite direction, because like I said before, if you watch my videos a while, I remember getting a load. We were up in Washington, and a load comes across, like, let's just say it's a Friday. A load comes across Friday, let's say 9 o'clock in the morning. There's a load that comes across, and it's going to pick up Saturday at the window might be 9 a.m. to midnight. And I'd say to him, man, we're going to have a good time to chill out now. And I could hear it as good as he said it yesterday. Lyle, we don't do windows. And what he meant was he doesn't play the whole game like, you know, the windows till midnight the next day or whatever. We're going to get there as soon as possible, or at least get pretty close, you know, to where the pickup is, so we can make a call, things like that. Now, it's been a little bit different lately because some of these shippers aren't getting the stuff ready as soon as they should, but either way, I'm still going to get there as early as I can. I'm not usually one to push the envelope on dropping early. I will if it's a place I know, but you know, that's kind of where I might take a little bit of time to relax or something like that. So as far as the trip planning goes, if you run and you run, that's gonna beat anybody that says, I'm gonna stop here and we're gonna do this, whatever. So that's that. Right now I am on a 2-stop load. Picked it up from the terminals going to Enid, Oklahoma. So what is it? It's like noon. It drops off tomorrow at 0700. So I'm going to try to be there about 5. And then next delivery is in Yoakum, Texas. Got me thinking about Sling Blade with Dwight Yoakam. But Yoakum, Texas is kind of in that Austin, San Antonio-ish area, kind of down there. And that's going to be tomorrow at 0700. Now, the load, now I don't trip plan, but I at least kind of see what's in the area. So that means I'm going to have to go through Austin, Texas. I'm going to have to go through, or at least around Dallas, Texas. So 580 miles, you know, I should be able to do that. But depending on how my clock is looking, I might have to stop short. I know I'm going to be coming in not at the best time of the day for parking. So I might end up stopping real short. Not real short, but maybe let's say 100 miles out. Unless I see I have enough time on my clock to actually get there. They do have street parking out there. Not a huge fan of that, but I will do that if I need to. And my clock will basically be done at that point, which is really not what I like, but in this case, there's really no way to manipulate my clock to not be delivering with the clock that's done. So I didn't really see any great parking around there. It'd be great to know which direction my next load might be coming from. So maybe I can at least get a few miles down the road in the right direction. But that's about it. Just want to talk a little bit about trip planning. I'm not sure if I'm going to put that thumbnail up so you can see how wide these parking spots are here. You know, when I took that picture, there was actually a box truck that was delivering something. Looked like he might have stole some stuff from warehouse and was offloading it to somebody, I don't know. And then we still got that cattle hauler over here. But hit up these small truck stops. These are for me, the big truck stops, I know I'm rambling, so I'm sorry about that. The big truck stops are to fuel and to wash your ass. Outside of that, I really don't have much of a need for them. If there's anything smaller along the way. So that's about it. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys. Oh, you know what? I wanted to say one more thing. I'm not exactly sure what Myra's going to be doing, but she just got to the Springfield yard. You know, Myra's like Houdini when she gets to the terminal. She will go into hibernation, and you gotta be looking for her ass to find her. So if you happen to see her at the terminal, stop by and say what's up, because she's kind of a little shy about things like that. And I think it'd be nice for her to have a few people come up and say, "Hey, Myra, how you doing?" But anyway, that is about it. I want to I appreciate you guys for stopping by. No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Comment, subscribe. I'm out.